What is going on? Z Community Cuties, it's your boy Azizz Finance in the cut, and today we're going to be talking about an option strategy called the wheel. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get this party started. Alright, so a couple of points that we're going to be discussing today. Number one, what is the wheel strategy? In what situations should you use this strategy? And then last but not least, actually using this with your Canadian broker. Now, what is the wheel strategy? Let me break this down for you right now. So it really consists of two main things. I kid you not, two main things. Selling a call and selling a put. Now, it doesn't really matter which order you do this in, but I personally suggest that you start off with selling puts first. And the reason why, we'll get into this a little later after we explain what this strategy is overall. Now, the reason that they call it the wheel strategy is because it is an efficient process that just keeps repeating over and over and over and over again. It is literally in the form of a wheel once you kind of put it in like a diagram of some sort. And that's the exact reason why it's been gaining so much popularity recently, especially with beginners going into the options world. It's because of how easy it is to set up. Now, because there are two parts of it, being selling puts and selling calls, let's actually break down what both of these actually do. Now, let's start off with the put side of things, when you're selling the put. Now, when you are selling a put option, what you're basically doing in this type of situation is you're saying, hey, listen, this stock price is a little bit too high in my eyes. I would actually buy it if it was X amount of dollars lower. Now, when you sell the put option, you're basically selecting a strike price that is lower than the current strike price, and if that strike price is met by the expiration date, then guess what? You could actually end up buying the shares of stock. A lot of people end up doing this when they're trying to go for more long-term plays. For example, if we look at, let's just say Apple, because we know how overvalued Apple is nowadays. If I were to look at Apple and say, hey, you know what, I'm not really digging this price right now, but if it goes down, whatever, $10 lower, I am willing to buy it by all means. That's the fair value I've done off my fair analysis, so let's just keep it at that. But you might be thinking, okay, well, what's the entire benefit of this strategy? Why would I have to wait to buy the shares? Why can't I just, check up on it every single day? Well, here's the benefit of selling the put. Regardless of the outcome, whether you end up with the shares or you don't end up with the shares, you end up receiving something that is called the premium. This is basically to compensate you for the time that you're waiting until expiration. And the easiest way to kind of look at this premium is just the actual options price itself. So if the put, for example, at the time that you sold it was selling for $2.50, once you sell it, you'll see that $250 has been added right into your bank account, and you get to keep all of it regardless of the outcome. Now, when I say regardless of the outcome, I'm really referring to two different scenarios of how selling this put can really play out. Scenario number one is if your stock price does not even hit where you anticipated, and instead it just keeps going up and up and up, or it stays trading around the same range. Now, if this ends up happening, then guess what? By expiration, your contract is going to expire worthless, but good side is you get to keep the premium that you collected and you don't end up buying any shares, which is pretty dope. If you end up with this type of scenario, what should you do? Well, you just revisit step one. Sell another put and hope that it ends up going down in value so that you could buy these shares for a actual fair value based on your analysis, of course. Now, situation number two is if the stock price ends up going lower and it hits that price that you were expecting. Now, by expiration or even before, depending on the person on the other side of this deal, they will end up exercising this contract, meaning that they're gonna come up to you and say, yo, my dude, remember this? We signed it. This means I'm gonna have to force you to buy the shares off of me. And guess what? In this type of situation, you still get to keep the premium, but now on top of it, you have to dish out some cash to actually buy these shares of stock. Now, if you end up in this type of situation, then this is where you move on to the second part of the wheel strategy, which is selling a call. But before we go into that, I do want to give you guys the disclaimer that when it comes down to the wheel strategy, this will only work out well if it is a stock that you see in the long term. If it's something that you just kind of wanted to make a quick play on, some company that you don't really know inside out, I definitely would recommend against this strategy. things can go bad, and they can go bad pretty crazily. I don't even know if that was English, but you guys know exactly what I mean. Now, when it comes down to selling a call, you're basically doing the exact same opposite as what you did when you were selling the put. Now, when you sell a call, what your intention is usually you'll end up having the shares of stock, and by signing this options contract, you are basically saying, hey guys, like, if the stock price goes past a certain amount, then you can force me to take my shares at a lower price. Like, do your thing, whatever. So let's just say that you bought the shares at $8, right? You bought the shares at $8 when you were selling the put, and now you want to sell a call against it, but obviously you want to make profit. So let's say the strike price you selected was $9. Now time goes by. Now once you actually sell this call, you are still going to receive a premium, because at the end of the day, you're still the one who has to wait. You're basically locking up your stock position in hopes that something may or may not happen. So you get rewarded the premium regardless of the outcome. So let's just fast forward to a couple of weeks or months, depending on when you picked your expiration. And again, two scenarios can happen. Scenario number one is the stock price ends up going higher than you actually anticipated. So in this case, anything higher than $9. Now in this type of situation, what would happen is the person that's on the other side of the deal is gonna come up to you and say, hey, we're gonna force you to sell your shares at this price to us right now. No questions asked. If this ends up happening, guess what? You end up going back to selling puts again, because you've ended up selling your stocks, you've kept your premium, and then you go back to step one, which is selling a put. Then you literally just rinse and repeat the entire situation. But wait, what if the stock price doesn't go past this point? Well, you probably have guessed it based on what we were just saying about puts, but if the stock price does not go past the strike price that you selected, the call option is going to expire worthless. You get to keep the shares of stock, and you also get to keep the premium as well. Now again, as I just highlighted a few minutes ago, you want to make sure that you're doing the wheel strategy on stocks or companies that you understand inside out. You want to make sure that you know the company as well as the CEO or the CFO, and you're not just doing this for premiums. The biggest quote that I like to say, and I'm not sure if it was someone else who said it, but if not, guess what? I'm gonna be the first. When it comes down to options trading, if you're only hunting for premiums, you are going to get burned, and that's a fact. So you need to make sure that you've done your fundamental analysis, you've done your technical analysis, and then move forward with actually doing the wheel strategy. Now, as you guys know, we don't have many options out here up in the north, but where you can actually place this strategy is with a few brokers: Questrade, Interactive Brokers, and potentially the bank brokers. If you do want to do this with Questrade, you need to have $25,000 within your account as cash all times. This enables you to get level 4 options, which then allows you to sell puts, which is the first and most essential part of the entire strategy. Another caveat to this with Questrade is that you can only do this in a non-registered account, which in other words would be their margin account. Thus, you cannot do this within a TFSA or an RRSP. With Interactive Brokers, on the other hand, the restrictions aren't as crazy as Questrade's, but usually all you have to do, and don't quote me on this, because the last time IB ever changed their website was back in 1982, but what I read on their website is that you need a minimum of $2,000 US within your account to actually start implementing this type of strategy. So guys, don't take my word on it again, because the Interactive Brokers website is outdated. I got really burned last time for making a PDT video about, Interactive Brokers and the PDT rule. I got destroyed. So I want you to keep that in mind, and don't come at me at the comments, bro. And lastly, for bank brokers, you guys know my stance on when it comes down to these guys. No dissing and nothing personal against them, because I would never use them again. I haven't really looked into the restrictions, but you know what? If you can sell a call and sell a put, you should be fine. And also keep in mind that for these brokers, you're not gonna find a little place that tells you wheel strategy. You actually have to do it manually. So you have to sell the call by yourself first, then you have to sell the put by yourself. So it's not a specific thing that you can kind of press, similar to like a straddle strategy or the strangle strategy and things of that nature. But yeah, that's pretty much it, Z community. If you guys do have any questions or I left anything out, let your boy know in the comment section down below. But again, thank you guys for watching. It's your boy Azizz Finance. signing out. Peace.